season's almost here, baby. Let's go.
Best player in college football.
That Georgia and Ohio State game, New Year's Eve, is going to be a classic.
Josh Blunder, hi everybody, I'm Josh Blunder.
To the 40, 35, 30, Espinosa to the 20.
The Detroit Lions have had two of the most heartbreaking endings to seasons we have seen in a long time, with the loss to the San Francisco 49ers in the NFC Championship game. We know about the 17-point lead, of course, and the questionable play calling from Dan Campbell, a great head coach. Last year, just all of the injuries down the stretch, and just knowing that they could have been so much better, had an opportunity at winning the Super Bowl, not just getting there, because the Eagles would have had to come and play at their place if they had any health whatsoever to stop Jaden Daniels and the Commanders. For the 2025 season, they loaded up. They said, we need help on the defensive line. We're going to go get Amon Hassanade from the Boise State Broncos. Like, this kid has had production. We love him. We're going to get Tyleik Williams. If you're in Michigan and you're a Michigan Wolverines fan, you know who Tyleik Williams is in on that national championship Buckeye team. They got Tate Ratledge in round 2 to fill in for Frank Ragnow, so it makes people sit a little bit easier that the interior of the offensive line will hold up. And then they're trying to see, do we have that third guy outside of Jameson Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown? Who can be that third guy on our offense? They decide for Isaac Tisla that maybe he can be it. So let's get to it. The 2025 regular season prediction preview for the Detroit Lions. How can it start any better than this? They've got the Packers, Bears, and Ravens to start off the season. You want the best teams at any point in time. Parking lots on an aircraft carrier at Lambeau Field, where this game takes place week 1, they get them, and I think they beat them 28-27 in a classic type opening game where the Lions just flex their muscles. It's like, okay, Ben Johnson is gone. It hurts us quite a bit, but how about our receiving core? We can flex that. How about our duo in the backfield? We've got a top 5 duo at receiver and a top duo in the National Football League at running back. Yes, it is, because David Montgomery might be a top 10, 12 back, and Gibbs just might be the best up there with Barkley and Bijan. Packers with a new look, of course, with Matthew Golden outside on the edge. I want to let you know, I'm currently recording this video a couple of weeks prior to you seeing it, because the current version of myself, when you're watching it, is in Africa, out on safari, enjoying the wide open plains of what Africa has to offer out there for a couple of weeks to watch and witness the beautiful, great migration, to see some real world lions, actually. So if I'm talking about guys that might not be an impact, that sadly might have an injury, it's because this video is being recorded before any of that happens. Week 2, they host the Chicago Bears, and I think that's a win. 26-23. The Bears can make all these moves. You see the stuff in the back. They can get Burden in the second round, and they can get the kid out of Texas A&M, Shamar Turner. They can load up with another guy like Ozzie Trapia on the offensive line, who might not even play all that much this year, as well as Colston Loveland, the first-round pick. They can get the offensive line pieces, Dolman and Tooney and Jackson, this offensive line unit. But Detroit is still better than the Bears as of now. The Bears can take their offensive coordinator, make him their head coach. They still are in a position where all the pieces are there. The Bears might be a good roster, maybe even very good at some point this season. On paper, it all has to come together, and very likely it won't until around the Thanksgiving time mark. So that week 2 game, Lions beat the Bears 26-23. Jared Goff is able to flex his muscles once again. Ford Field for the Lions home opener. Week 3, holy cow, the Lions get a crack at Lamar Jackson, and I'll just say this. Good luck beating Lamar Jackson. This could be a Super Bowl preview. Any game with the Lions against a stellar AFC team could be an AFC preview. I won't say the same thing, though, with the Bengals, though. Don't think that's a Super Bowl level squad, even though I do love a healthy Joe Burrow. Monday Night Football, 34-21, handing the Lions a 2-1 record in their first loss. Primarily, it's, of course, Lamar. I understand that Campbell's a great athlete. Brian Branch can come down, but there's really no simulation for a Lamar Jackson type of athlete. We can talk about all we want, but it's not just him. It's Derrick Henry blasting through there, and how good that defense is as well. Malachi Starks, one of the best picks in the draft, in my opinion, grabbing him from Georgia. You can never go wrong drafting a Georgia Bulldog with proven ability and a national champion in the first round of the NFL draft, as well as them grabbing Mike Green from Marshall, like pick, what was it, 56, 58 for Baltimore, taking him, my goodness, like that late in the draft to get a guy that could have been a top 10 pick if he didn't have some of those allegations. Week 4, the Cleveland Browns at home. Oh, baby, that's a win. 27-13 for those Michigan fans that hate the Buckeyes. Well, guess what? You beat another team from Ohio this year before you play 2 Ohio teams back-to-back, quite frankly. So they beat the Browns 27-13. Lions are just a better team. The inconsistency of what we're going to see at the quarterback position, the Cleveland is going to be, paralleled. We've seen it before that the Lions have struggled at that spot throughout their entire history. There's a lot of reason for that, but you're going to commit to Joe Flacco, and you can already see it. The struggle is early. They might give the ball to Kenny Pickett. Same thing. Shedeur Sanders. There might be a couple miracle moments, but the future of that team at quarterback, I don't think they're yet on the roster. They might be in a draft in 2026 or 27. But the Lions get a win, improve to 3-1 before a very tough stretch. One of the toughest stretches in football next year at Cincinnati, at Kansas City, and then home against the Bucs. Very underrated Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The 3-1 Lions going into a shootout with the Cincinnati Bengals. People say that Jameson Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown is the best wide receiver duo in football. Well, prove it, baby, to me. Go out there and outscore the Cincinnati Bengals. Because you think this is just going to be a run fest? Well, it might be. I actually would like to see them just keep it on the ground and run the ball 30 times right down the Cincinnati Bengals throat. Because as the time I'm making this video, trying to portray some enthusiasm, of course, the enthusiasm natural, but for the Cincinnati Bengals, because that team has been an absolute train wreck with these contracts signed. They end up having to pay Ja'Marr Chase like an extra $6-7 million a year because they wait a year, and he has one of the best seasons in history at the wide receiver spot, and Joe Burrow has MVP caliber numbers in a year. What they finished 9-8, and of course, Shamar Stewart, their first rounder, isn't unsigned, and Trey Hendrickson is not there yet. So as the recording of this, neither of them are there. Why not run the ball 35 times and stuff it down their throat? But it ultimately will come down to the duos. Have them dropping to 3-2 and losing to Cincinnati. It's a tough game, and it'll come down to someone that might just have the ball last. Then at the Chiefs, of course, we all remember thinking that it would be Lions-Chiefs in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. Could have had that matchup if they just beat the 49ers last year. If they had health, honestly, they would have been there. They would have been playing the Chiefs for the Super Bowl. Could have been back-to-back. Who knows? But I have them with the win, 30-20. Just like the core of what Detroit kind of stands for right now with the Chiefs, of what they're doing with all this speed, like Marquise Hollywood Brown, Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy. They seem a little light to me. Like a guy like Amon-Ra, that's just this enforcer type character. Like, Jameson Williams, no doubt. He's a flyer that can stretch the field and provide an explosion. Like Jahmyr Gibbs is that explosion. But they've got the Amon-Ra, they got the Sam LaPorta, the David Montgomery, just bruisers. You could argue that they're more physical than a fast of a team. They're one of the fastest teams in the NFL when you go pound for pound with their best players. Jameson Williams, one of the fastest players in the NFL, alongside Jahmyr Gibbs. A win to put them at a very respectable 4-2 record before their Monday night game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This one's going to put a couple people on notice. Like, this is the one where I think Tampa Bay is on the scene. We recall Detroit just handling Tampa 2 years ago in the divisional playoff game. Detroit had that tight, against the Los Angeles Rams, and then Tampa just owned the Philadelphia Eagles. That was a sick Eagles. Like, they were sick. Like, something was wrong in that locker room at that point, and Kelsey retires. But the Bucs, they're going to be a very good team, and they're going to threaten any secondary they face. Even a very good Detroit Lions secondary that features the new J.G. Reed. First time I mentioned him, coming from the New York Jets. Boy, can that guy cover. Terrion Arnold, of course, Alabama. Amik Robertson coming over from Las Vegas. We know about them. And, Robertson has been there, but this is a tough matchup right before the bye. I like the Bucs to win it. 31-27 on the road. Exact some revenge. A lot of these players, remember, like Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, they were all there. Bucky Irving wasn't there. And if you don't know who Bucky Irving is, if you're a Detroit Lion fan, you are going to after that game. They dropped to 4-3, but the bye week comes at a nice little time. From respite, they can get some health before they face the Minnesota Vikings, and then at the Commanders, at Eagles. That's a tough stretch, but don't think it's as tough as you think, because the Vikings aren't going to be as good as you might think that they would be because of JJ McCarthy. Because there might be some Detroit bias there. There might be a little bit of that Detroit Lion, like Michigan fan bias or whatever might be happening to assume JJ might be at a higher level. But first year as a starter, don't care. Even if it's midway through the season, playing the Detroit Lions is going to be a tough task against that very good defensive line. We can bet that Tyreek Williams, now Detroit's going to want a bit of revenge there. And Aidan Hutchinson going up against his former Michigan Wolverine, of course. That'll be fun, him trying to get after J.J. McCarthy. That's like one of the only ones that we see on the year. So that's a bit of fun. So 5-3, the Detroit Lions take care of biz at Ford Field. 5-3 Lions against the Washington Commanders. This is a rematch, of course, from the NFC divisional round, and the Lions are pissed off. They're ticked off. They want that one on the road, and they go get it, 29-26, in one of the best games of the NFL season. We see takeaways. We see special teams impact. Good field goals made. Running game from the quarterback and Daniels. Great pocket passing from Goff. This game is going to have it all, and probably a defensive turnover or two from both teams, as well as it going the other way for a touchdown. All of that you want in one of the best games of the year that you can check off. Lions and Commanders, don't know how it shakes out, but of course the Commanders could be in a spot to be threatening the Lions for playoff positioning. Don't think the Commanders are quite there yet to surpass Philly and win that division. Believe that the Eagles are going to get that division title the second time in the NFC East, like back-to-back for the first time in 20 years. But a win against the Jaden Daniels-led Commanders, but Bobby Wagner and Frankie Louvu do pose a challenge. 6-3 Lions against the Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday Night Football. Everyone wanted to see that NFC Championship game at Detroit. Lions hosting the Eagles. I know I wanted to. It's funny, you could have even had the Rams going in there, or it could have been Commanders going to LA to play. There were so many different scenarios that played out. Just the flip of a coin. The Rams really putting the Eagles to the brink. Losing by 6, actually, is what I have. The Lions losing by 6 to the Eagles in this. It poses that the Lions are still right there. They can compete for a championship, and they might just see Philadelphia again later on in the postseason. But a loss, Barkley versus Gibbs, Jameson Williams and Amon-Ra scoring up against, of course, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, 2 of the best 5 duos in football. We get to see all of them. Of course, you've got that in Minnesota. You've got that in Detroit. You've got that in Cincinnati, the Rams and Puka and Adams. You get to see the best duos in the sport square off. That's what's so much fun, is the potential. And then a lot of those teams having great defenses. Like the Eagles, Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter in the middle there, and they go get Ty Robinson from Nebraska for the Michigan fans, still throwing a Big Ten name at you. And then Jahad Campbell on the edge alongside Nolan Smith, because Josh Sweat left. So they're like, oh yeah, let's get a first rounder from the SEC in Alabama. And in the back end, we're just going to take the kid out of Texas, bring him back here, because we do need a bit of help deep in the secondary. The Eagles just love SEC defenders. It's quite funny, but of course, they've got a great team. A win after they're put to 6-4. They get a couple of wins in a row here. I've got 3 in a row against the Giants, Packers, Cowboys. They've got Thanksgiving. They've got a Thursday night game after that. The Giants puts them to 7-4. 23-10. Nothing about the Giants really threatens me. They got a good old line there in Detroit that's able to hold up against whatever that Giant pass rush poses. And if anything, they're getting after Goff. Dump it off to Jameson. Dump it off to Amon-Ra. Give it to Jahmyr Gibbs out of the backfield, and he's just going to make guys pay for it. A 7-4 Giant team heads to a Green Bay matchup on Thanksgiving. At this point, both of these teams are right there in the middle. Similar records. As you would know, 7-4 does not have that division in any sense locked up at all. So a win on Thanksgiving would be huge, and they get it 23-21, moving them to 8-4 and firmly in control of the standings in the NFC North. And right there in the picture, possibly getting the 1 seed, which also helps. Was a Thursday night game win against the Cowboys, moving them to 9-4 on the season, firmly in control at this point in the NFC North, and looking at a home game in the playoffs, of course, which comes with winning your division. The win against the Cowboys will come straight from the right arm of Jared Goff. He has not gotten enough credit. The Lions have put up 1,000 points the last 2 seasons. No, there's only one other team to do that. It's the Baltimore Ravens. That's right. The Lions are on the class of what the Baltimore Ravens are, of what they've been. Well, they both went to the AFC Championship game 2 years ago and lost. And last year, they both lost in the divisional round. Yeah, we can say that they're the same class of team, even though people might think that Lamar Jackson, with his 2 MVPs, has the Ravens on another class in Detroit. No. You're getting ahead of yourself just a little bit there. Even though I did have Baltimore beating them earlier in the season, they're still a similar type of team. 9-4 against the Los Angeles Rams at SoFi Stadium. A top 5 matchup on the year for me. We see Stafford once again, a great game to start the year. One of the best games of the season. Week 1, Rams against the Lions. The Rams falling short, down 14. They come back into overtime, and the Lions go right down the field and win it 37-29. They have the Lions losing to the Rams and Stafford. That, my gosh, Devontae Adams, the Lions know all about him and what he has been for Green Bay, and even having success there with the Jets. That was one of the weirdest things we've seen. They give up capital, and he's just gone in like half a season in New York, and the Rams are going to utilize him with Stafford and Nakua in that offense. And don't get me started on that Rams. That might be my favorite defensive line unit in football. So that loss drops them to 11-5 before they head back to Detroit for a home game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And Aaron Rodgers, probably final game in his career against the NFC North. It is a road game at Ford Field. I have the Lions winning 22-17, improving their record to 10-5 on the season. Respectable, no doubt. It's not the 15-2 that they were a year ago. Incredible, but it still is plenty solid. The schedule is tough. Obviously, you've got Washington, Baltimore on that schedule, as well as teams like the Rams and Philly. This schedule is tougher. And the Bucs and the Bears are improved. Minnesota's still a tough out. This is all a Christmas game. I've got them winning in the holidays. So Thanksgiving, 2-point win against the Packers, and then Minnesota, Christmas, a 2-point win against the Vikings on the road. 19-17, they get that win, moving to 11-5, clinching their spots in the postseason. They might have even done it before, getting to 10-5 against the Pittsburgh Steelers, which is always a nice Christmas gift. Knowing you're back in the playoffs, it would be so surprising if Detroit didn't get back there, just because of how good that roster is and what Jared Goff has been, even without the very good coordinating from their coordinators in Johnson and Glenn. Finishing out the season, potentially already a playoff spot in mind, and the Chicago Bears fighting to get to the postseason. Have the Chicago Bears at that point in the year at 8-8, needing a win possibly to get into the postseason. I've also got Atlanta at 9-8 and Arizona at 9-8. So we'll see how, obviously, if any of that ends up happening. And of course, the Packers at 10-7. So the Bears get a win 24-20 at Soldier Field against the Lions, and a little bit of statement to say that they might be a better team going forward, maybe just missing the postseason, but certainly showing that they are getting closer within the conference and within the division of competing within it. But Detroit shows their strength and that they are still amongst the elite in the conference as well as football. Let me know what you have to say about this video of what I think of Detroit. I think I hit the nail on the head that they're going to be very good, that there might be struggles throughout the season without the coordinating and maybe some issues on the offense without Ben Johnson. He's been one of the best play callers in football that we've seen. Like Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, Andy Reid type level the last couple of years. Again, 1,000 points combined the last 2 years. Only Baltimore has done that. Over 500 points each of the last 2 seasons. So let me know what you think. Make sure to subscribe, please. You might see the stuff of the Bears in the background. I'll tell you, I'm all energy, passion for football. I just want to see good football. Would rather see the Bears play bad and see a team play good football and to have the Bears be bad and get good draft picks than to like go and be this mediocre, sucky team every year. So I'll tell you, I'm rooting for good football, guys to stay healthy, and we're all about a community of what I am trying to build here. So please make sure to subscribe. Let me know what type of content you want to see going forward in the future. I'll make sure to get on my horse, so to say. I gotta make sure I come back from Africa. Like, my goodness, this is going to be a lot of fun, getting to see the real deal Lions. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time for more content.
To the 40, 35, 30, Espinosa to the 20.